This episode has been brought to you by JustNForm.com. If you're tired of being censored, tired of having your data stolen and sold, go to JustNForm.com, a social media site where all voices are welcome.
You know, in order to be part of the establishment elite, like to be one of the promised ones, you have to usually get a pretty highly reputable education, right? And that usually requires you going to schools such as Harvard, Yale, Howard even. And that's where Kamala went, you know, and Howard's a fantastic university. As far as HBCUs goes, Howard is like the Harvard of Black schools, right? And so Kamala's somewhat intelligent, I imagine. You know, the other elites of prestigious universities, you know, Hillary Clinton went to Yale, Bill Clinton went to Yale, Harvard, Barack, he went to Columbia and Harvard. Even Donald Trump went to Ivy League school, because that's just kind of part of the gig, right? You got to be indoctrinated. It's that's how you network. That's how you rub shoulders. Now, going to these Ivy League schools affords you certain experiences, right? Certain networks, certain advantages, certain resources. And I'd imagine you even learn a lot while you're there, right? And then you, at least, if you don't learn a lot, you meet and hang out with people who have learned a lot. So you can learn from their experiences. And with all of, even to be a journalist, even to be like the Maddow's and the Anderson Coopers, like Anderson Cooper is a Vanderbilt. Like that's how much money and prestige he has. If you don't know Vanderbilt is called like the Harvard of the South or something like that. He is the Vanderbilt. Like he is one. That's not an exaggeration. That's the family he's from. The Maddow's of the world, like you have to be like, you gotta get a lot. You get a lot of access. So even to be a journalist like CNN, you know, for work for CNN at the higher levels, like what we've seen, you gotta have like this very formal education. And with all of that education, with all of that network, with all of those experiences that you get, and then all the experiences that you get from your predecessors who also frequented the Harvards and the Ivy Leagues and, you know, the Yales and even public eyes. I'm a UNC guy, right? I'm a UNC alum. I know you get a lot of resources. That's why it kind of boggles my mind when I see stuff like this. Because even with all of those resources and everything, hundreds of thousands of dollars to consultants who went to the same schools, right? That adds up to be millions. To pay to not make mistakes like this. Y'all still do the absolute dumbest, unprovoked shit that I have ever seen. I'm so serious. I've seen people who have never went to college. Some of them haven't even graduated high school, who understand you don't have to be an Ivy League grad to look online and say, you know, maybe I shouldn't say this. Like, go to Twitter. You can get more Ivy League education, legitimate education from Twitter and YouTube than these $1 million colleges, apparently, because, well, look at the title of the article and we can just go on from there. Kamala Harris is open to multiple paths of Medicare for all. Yeah, I know this is going to be good. Let's continue. By stating that she would eliminate private insurers as a necessary part of implementing Medicare for all, California Senator Kamala Harris, during a CNN town hall on Monday night, sent a shockwave through the national healthcare debate. Okay, first of all, no, she didn't. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has been talking about this. Okay, let's be very clear about that. Bernie, clearly, I feel like I shouldn't have to say that, but sometimes I forget that some people don't know. So Bernie Sanders was the one who started the Medicare for all debate. Bernie Sanders is the reason that there were entire think tanks dedicated to figuring out if it was feasible. And it turned out, what a surprise, it actually saves us money. Billions in the short term, trillions in the long term. Kamala Harris, to put it nicely, is malleable when it comes to Medicare for all. But to put it frankly, she's a flip-flopper, right? And I'm going to explain why in a second. Let's continue. Harris's comments underscored the extent to which a move to single payer would radically overhaul the current system, and in frankly addressing one of the transition's most politically difficult steps, stepped directly into her critics' crosshairs. And now you got to wonder, right? Well, who are her critics? Because the only real critics are us, the independents and the educated viewers, the educated observers. The debates haven't started, and of course, candidates aren't going to attack until they can figure out what they can attack the other candidate on. It's unnecessary for them to do so. And so it's like, who was left? Republicans. So you're starting to see this story build into something that she should not be doing, but she's going to do it anyway. Take a look. Republicans attacked Harris within minutes of her remarks. Can you believe Republicans are attacking a Democrat? Can't believe it. Tweeting that she says she wants to eliminate private health insurance even if you like your plan. I have a question for all of you in the comment sections right now. How many of you actually like your insurance plan? I have TRICARE, and I'm starting to not like my TRICARE is for military active duty military and retired military service members. I'm retired. I'm starting to not like my plan because healthcare has gotten that messed up. Now TRICARE is being taken care of by Humana Military, and if you don't enroll by a certain time, now we have to wait for open enrollment despite being retired service members. So if you don't live near a military base, imagine being in like Oklahoma and you don't live near a military base. And if, for whatever reason, you came up on hard times and couldn't afford health insurance for that month as a retired service member, then you're screwed for a year. Hope you can find another way to get your medication if you have PTSD. Hope you have another way to get your medication if you have any other mental health issues, if you have chronic back pains, if you have chronic knee pains, if you have chronic leg pains and arm pains and feet pains. So this Republican should be taken, his attack should be taken as just disingenuous and ill-informed and a partisan play. That's what a normal person would take it as. A person who's educated on what the health insurance industry looks like. Maybe Kamala isn't actually educated. Let's continue. By Tuesday morning, former Starbucks boss Howard Schultz, who's running as an independent billionaire, which is a whole different discussion, was piling on a fellow billionaire potential presidential candidate. He was piling on with a fellow billionaire potential presidential candidate, Michael Bloomberg, the former mayor of New York. They were both dismissing the entire plan as fiscally ruinous and a pipe dream, and both of those have already been proven to be true. And by the way, Michael Bloomberg is boring. I hope he does not run for president because he will get eaten alive. That dude is he's a yawn. He's a yawn. He bought his way to the mayorship. So you can buy a president, but you can't buy your way into the presidency in the Democratic Party anymore. Ask Hillary. Anyway, as the furor grew, Harris' advisor on Tuesday signaled that the candidate would also be open to more moderate reform plans, which would preserve the industry, because that's exactly what everybody who is getting screwed over by healthcare wants, the preservation of a predatory industry. And she said that she would even be open to exploring other options that have been presented by congressional Democrats. Do you find a problem with that? It's Medicare for all. Why would you need a bunch of insurance companies for Medicare for all? That means I have access to everything that I need. Now, if we talk about supplementary insurance like Medicare for all, or like what they call single payer with a private option, because maybe you're a little experimental, maybe you like doing other things like cosmetic surgery and get plastic surgery. I don't judge. I'm just saying. Then that's okay. You can pay for that. But The article goes on to say that it presents a compromise position that risks angering Medicare for all proponents on who view eliminating private health insurance as key to enacting their comprehensive reform. Yeah, you think? They're the ones paying, like, not even just profiting off of people's pain and suffering and misery. They're also paying lobbyists to pay Congress people millions and millions upon billions of dollars to make sure Medicare for all doesn't get passed. Do you think there may be a conflict of interest there as far as not wanting to die and keeping insurance companies alive? I think so. Yeah, I would agree. The article goes on to say, Medicare for All is a plan that she believes will solve the problem and get all Americans covered, quote unquote, period, Sam told CNN. She co-sponsored other pieces of legislation that sees a path to getting us there. But this is the path she's running on. First of all, no. And this is what I mean by that. Kamala Harris did not, in 2017, sponsor, support, or vote for the Conyers bill. Now, what is Conyers? I believe it's HR 676. Don't quote me on that. I'll figure it out for you exactly which one it is. But I believe I have recited it so many times before and I just totally forgot what it is. But I'm pretty sure it's HR 676. And that's the standard for Medicare for all, right? That is the standard. That's what everybody considers to be the standard. And people don't know. Kamala voted against it, and she slightly came under fire for that. Remember, I saw it in my other videos. Because it's just it was a resolution. So HR stands for House Resolution. She didn't support it, and therefore she got backfire. But because she hadn't become that famous yet, like Cory Booker, a lot of people didn't know. But she pivoted very quickly and say, after talking to my advisors, in other words, after I got lit up on Twitter, after I saw Cory Booker get thrown under the bus, I all of a sudden think I kind of support Medicare for all. 2 weeks ago, she said she was open to Medicare for all. 2 nights ago, I feel strongly about Medicare for all. I feel strongly about it. And also, this is just from the heart, okay? I'm making this up out of thin air. It isn't rehearsed. I haven't heard this anywhere before. But I just, in my heart, I really believe that Medicare for all is a right and not a privilege. Okay? We got to live with dignity. I haven't heard anybody else say this before. Okay? I promise you. I couldn't imagine literally that exact sequence of words, like Medicare for all is a right and not a privilege. Like that exact sequence of words was never uttered before, like in that fashion on the national stage until Bernie Sanders said them. It's not even an exaggeration. It's not by any stretch of them. She literally took this man's words and made it seem like she just was so original. Now, like I said, you want to see the most flip-flopping mofo in the race already. Medicare for all is the plan. This is from her advisor, of course, who is speaking for her. Medicare for all is the plan that she believes will solve the problem and get all Americans covered, period. Huh? So first of all, which one is it? Is it Medicare for all or insurance companies? Because you can't have both. Medicare right now sucks horrendously because of insurance companies. You guessed it. Now, this is exactly where the conversation, and this is crazy because the people who like to make the comparisons to Barack Obama, they're going to love this, and they're going to see it immediately because this is where the conversation with Barack Obama started, if you all don't remember. Hillary actually, believe it or not, pushed him left on universal health care, like real, actual universal health care. And that was something that Hillary had actually been working on for some time and when she was in Bill Clinton's office. And then, I think that it was probably more rhetoric than anything, right? Honestly, I do believe that. But she pushed Obama left on it. And Obama, it became a staple of his candidacy because people believed in this. And it started out great. And it started out universal health care with a private option. Then it was healthcare with the public option, private healthcare with a public option. Then it became rob you blind, get over it. You can't afford your deductibles. I guess you're not getting medicine. You can't afford your deductibles. I guess you're not getting surgery. This is where it started. Compromise. Don't you just love those words when you hear from a neoliberal? Compromise. Now, CNN goes on to say that their description of Harris's views is backed up by her record in the Senate, where she co-sponsored Vermont Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All bill, which would phase out for-profit insurers, but also less aggressive approaches proposed by Hawaii Senator Brian Schatz, whose bill would effectively create a public option. No, we don't want public option. And it says allowing certain option, a public option by allowing certain Americans to buy into Medicaid. That's not an option. That's just another. And okay, so first of all, do you hear? Do you hear this? Think about this. Oh, she co-sponsored Vermont Senators Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All bill, which would phase out for-profit insurance, but also, just to hedge her bets, she also sponsored a less aggressive approach by Hawaii Senator Brian Schatz, whose bill would effectively create a public option by making you still pay for health insurance. It's one or the other. Well, what they didn't say is that, once again, and it's crazy how they leave these really convenient facts out. She did not support HR 676. Fact. She changed her mind when she got berated by it. So what, you just made 3 different decisions in the course of a 2-year span. What am I supposed to do with this? She also co-sponsored a bill called Medicare X from Senator Michael Bennet and Tim Kaine, which create public insurance option on the affordable health care. What is a public insurance option? What? So basically, you support everybody, is what you're telling us. Oh, I just support everybody. Yeah, it's cool. Well, what about that? Yeah, that's a good idea. What outfit should you wear? Well, you should wear that one. Well, what about this? This one looks good. Yeah, that one looks good on you also. Wait. And then she's like, well, look, just stop asking me, because I'm going to tell you all of them look good so you're not mad at me. And then, of course, the advisor said, her willingness to consider alternate routes to a single-payer healthcare system should not cast doubt on her commitment to the policy. Except for if they're going out of their way to say that because of the facts surrounding the issue. I'm going to tell you, her willingness to consider alternate routes to a single-payer system should absolutely cast doubt on her commitment to the policy. But overall, nobody should be surprised by this. What have I told? I've said this, I don't know how many times. I'm going to say it millions of times more. If they take corporate money, they cannot be on your side. It's simple. It really is. If you work at McDonald's, if you work at Burger King, you're not going to the employee's not going to walk up to the counter while the manager's looking and say, or the customers are going to walk up to the counter while the manager's looking, and then the employee says, hey, yo, you tried that new McRib? It's back. The McRib is back. I know you seen that sign outside. Go get it. I wouldn't even be mad at you. Burger King is going to be all right. No. You don't think that Walmart, you got an employee at Walmart that's going to see Publix, an employee at Walmart has somebody in there and like, yo, look, you know that Publix got that on a discount. They're doing price matching. So go ahead and, hey, go to Publix real quick. Give them this receipt. I got you. You can even use my number. You can use my Publix number. They're not going to go they're going to be employees at Whole Foods and then say, You been to Trader Joe's? Bruh, Trader Joe's is cheaper. They are actually organic. And they get their stuff from actual local farmers markets. Like, you really can't go wrong with Trader Joe's. Like, I mean, yeah, this is all nice and we be on TV and all that good stuff. But like, Trader Joe's is the spot. You should go there. That's not how it works. Whoever pays you, whoever writes the checks, that's who you're going to work for. I don't know what to tell you. That's just how it works. It's simple math. It's simple logic. A pays B. So B gonna do what the hell A says. So we shouldn't be surprised by this. Like I said it a couple of times yesterday, and I'll say it again today. There is a reason that Kamala can say Medicare for all so fervently. And they love it. The Democrats celebrate it. But when Bernie Sanders says it, it's untenable. It's a pipe dream. We don't like you, Bernie. You're not a Democrat. It's because they know one of them's going to keep the promise and the other one isn't. It's really that simple. And finally, anybody curious as to why Kamala Harris is responding to critics from the right? So you're telling me that you're not even moving because because the Democrats told you to. Like, think about that. Her advisors didn't come out and defend her because the Democrats said something. They came out and defended it because Republicans tweeted at her. How reactionary and frail are your stances? If you're responding to Republican critics who are literally going to criticize everything you say, and let's be very, very frank, we saw how they did Obama. They're going to hit you with the same things. Oh, best believe birther movement's going to start, and you better be willing to take that type of criticism without trying to move at the whim of every single Republican tweet. Ask Elizabeth Warren how that ended up for her 2024 Pocahontas ass. Because she won't really Pocahontas like she was claiming to be. Okay? She won't. I was at Standing Rock. I ain't see her there. So, she don't got no connection to Native Americans as far as I'm concerned. That's a different discussion. But my point is you can't do that. Like, who's running the show for Kamala Harris? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know. I'm just looking guy, behind the desk, talking, telling the truth, reading some articles, quoting facts. And facts matter. Yesterday, she was for Medicare for all, and she felt strongly about it. And today, she's open to other options. But we shouldn't be surprised. That's how the game is played. Thanks for watching that segment of Mi Casa es Su Casa. You can donate to our Patreon and keep helping the network grow by clicking on the link in the description below. And also, make sure you join us at JustNForm.com. And finally, make sure you subscribe to us on Roku and be part of the very first independent news network on Roku TV. But more than anything else, always remember, find your balance. Peace.